Hello and welcome to this edition of Value Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. So very glad you are joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And we always love to come and bring you good news. And that's what all three of these segments of Value Time are about today. Good news coming out of our community. We'd like to first welcome the new CEO of TITA, Cohen Guidry. Cohen, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, sitting next to him, somebody you've seen quite often, Ms. Catherine Gilbert Terrio, the Director of Business Retention and Expansion over at TITA. Welcome back to the program, Kathy.
Thank you for having me back.
We appreciate it. So what I'd really like to do is ask Kathy about Cohen, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Cohen, tell us a little bit about, first and foremost, let's talk about the process about being selected to CEO.
Well, it was an interview process. I believe there was three applicants that put forth their resumes and sat before the board on an interview.
Right.
And I was selected out of them. And my resume, I've been in the private sector for over 30 years.
Okay.
Working in oil and gas and working around the world. A lot of executive positions. Started out a resident of Houma for a majority of my life.
Best place in the world to live.
It is. Well, I keep coming back. I left in
right.
1988 to go into the military. I served 4 years in the Army and Desert Storm vet, and then
Thank
came
you for
back.
your service.
Oh, no problem. Came back, went to Nichols, got into oil and gas, and the rest has just been a blur. But
it's so very interesting. You say came back, went to Nichols, got into oil and gas.
Yeah.
That's normally an either or.
no,
That's
it's-
not always a marriage. And so
Right.
we see people that finish school and go into working offshore and those kinds of things. But I would assume that you took your military experience and your knowledge of doing things in oil and gas industry, and it made it a perfect fit for you over at TITA.
It was really a good fit. It was the foundation of the leadership that I give all my success to or owe it to. That's carried me on through the industry. And, I think it's going to be a really good transition. I'm going into week 3 here at TITA, and I look forward to the challenge. There's some great people here. I've got some big shoes to fill from my predecessor.
Right.
And there's some programs out there available that I'm pretty excited about. And seeing some of the things behind the scenes that come in and discussions that are had that, there's still a little on the private side, but it's something that, you have to keep your mouth shut for a little while, but you still want to express to the public of, the good things are happening in Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah.
The support is overwhelming.
Really?
I've lived here the majority of my life,
Right.
and but I've worked elsewhere for the last 30 years, and so I run into people now and that I've known for all these years that I haven't seen maybe since grade school, high school, or what have you, and so it's pretty rewarding whenever you get to run into people. I had a guy the other day ask me, he says, "Man, you're still alive?" And I was like, "Yes, I am."
Okay. We're not that old.
No,
I mean,
no,
really.
no. But some of the fun stuff I've been able to do in my life. So Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of trying to keep stuff private versus public, it's probably a hint in there of that. Some of the things that you've done, right?
oh yeah, I'm not. It's all public record.
All public record now, which is really cool. Tell me your first thoughts when they said you are the new CEO.
Well, you just like with walking into any new organization, you have to be able to look at the landscape and find out what you're working with, what your boundaries are, what your support levels are, your staff, your team, and then come in and start working with them and establish trust. But if you don't have that, you won't have a team, and you got to start to gel and work together and pick up the momentum. As you can't be the fastest one or the slowest one. You got to kind of work with everybody there. So you establish your minimum standard and what you hope to achieve, and let them know first rattle out the box. You don't have to know everything, but I rely on you guys, and I will never claim to know anything.
Right.
But the people who you surround yourself with good people, and I was fortunate. excuse me. I was fortunate enough to have a good staff already in place. So I think that's one of the secrets of success.
One of my favorite CEOs said, always hire people smarter than yourself. And he said, if I've done that over the years, I'm technically the dumbest person here. And I thought, okay, But really, you echo the point about really coming in, trust versus mistrust. It's the
Absolutely.
bottom line of any building point for individuals, for organizations. You've got to be able to do that. But it comes with being able to say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I expect, and this is who you are and what you guys are already doing. Some good things there.
Thank you. I've been very blessed and fortunate to have some good mentors and some good leaders. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had some bad leaders, but I learned good values and good lessons from them as well of what not to do and how not to treat people. But you get the best out of people whenever you give them that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. My greatest learning tool was what not to do or what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life, we figure out the path that we don't want and the type of leader we don't want to be like.
Absolutely.
So there's value in both of those things. But having somebody like Kathy on the team is really good. I know because we talk to her quite often. And it's really interesting. You brought out some of the programs that are coming up. And I know that's probably some internal discussions about trying to figure out what we have an option for, what we can build and develop, and how we get that to the public.
Right.
And that's one of those things y'all spend a lot of time with, right?
Yes, sir.
I like it. I like it. Well, we're excited for you. Congratulations. We look forward to having you come on whenever Kathy can drag you back come on and do that with
I'll
us.
be here anytime you guys invite. I think it's very important to be involved in the community in this group and get the message out there. Right. I'm excited for the opportunity and to give something back to this community.
Well, we're glad and we accept. Kathy, thanks for coming on. We're going to have you come back with us. That's okay. Sure. Cohen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more Bayou time when we continue.